Well, hello there. Out for a beautiful Saturday hike. Checking out a new state park I haven't been to before. Sweetwater Creek State Park. Doing a couple of loop trail here that should get me somewhere around 10 miles. Lots of people out enjoying the park today. Parking was a bit tough to find, but I did manage to snag a side parking spot near the trail where I could jump on, not at a trailhead but at a crossing, but it works for my purposes. So we'll see what we see out here today, and I'll check in as we go. One thing I have realized as I edited my last video is I'm getting a bit long-winded and my videos are getting long, so I'm going to try and be a little bit more mindful of that, though this long introduction is running counter to that practice. But just want to let you guys know the length of the hikes may not be indicative of the length of the videos. If I can keep things focused on a little bit more significant sights and or commentary and not just talking to fill space. So wanted to give you that heads up, and I'm gonna continue trekking on here and see what we see along this state park. So we'll check in down the way. See this through the trees, but it looks like we have quite the collection of turtles enjoying the warm weather, just kind of floating in the lake here, just relaxing and enjoying themselves. You can walk down the trail a little bit from the waterfall. I'm able to walk now along this babbling brook as it tumbles along beside me. Sorry for the misstep there. Been a decent number of people I've seen out on the trail so far, as one would expect at a state park on a glorious springtime Saturday. But so far it's been a rather lovely hike. Got to see some wildlife with those turtles in the stream, or in the pond, and had never seen a cluster quite so many in one area like that, of all sorts of varying sizes. I don't know if you saw in the picture, but there was one quite sizable that was mostly submerged. Very nice to see. Well, I'm about 2 miles in on the hike, and I have finally reached the park's namesake waterway, Sweetwater Creek. It's flowing well today. We had a brief but intense thunderstorm move through the area early this morning around 7 a.m. and so the water has got a good flow to it, I'm sure, from the rapid runoff from that. So good to see, good to hear, and I'm going to continue on walking alongside it for a bit. Here for a moment to appreciate the rushing of the water around this small island in the middle of Sweetwater Creek. The trail along the creek has been a slight bit of a rock scramble as the trail winds itself over and around a number of large boulders and rock formations that line the trail, as you can see with this one here before me, which I'm about to go over. So I'm going to focus on that and we'll check in a little bit later. As you saw at the end of that time lapse, I hit an area of stairs along a rise in the bank next to the river here, and it leads to some platforms with some great overlooks of the rapids here at Sweetwater Creek in this stretch of the waterway. And yeah, very impressive. I'm probably going to take a few minutes here to appreciate the sights, get a drink of water, a little snack before continuing on. I just thought I'd share this with you a little bit before I do so. Red trail here is a little bit more treacherous than the white one. Well, I've gotten to a tamer section of the trail, that last stretch leading up to the mill house ruins that I pictured there. Well, let's just say that as rough as the terrain was underneath the riverbed to create those rapids, the terrain along the riverbank was just as wild. Lots of rock scrambles, rough or edge of water crossings, and lots of twisty root embankments, sharp inclines and declines. So I'm glad to get to a tamer stretch for a while. We'll enjoy this and catch up further down the way. Friendly little fellow slithering along, getting out of everyone's way. I'm sure he's enjoying the spring weather as well. A calmer stretch of the river that I'm walking along now, and the trail itself is also calmer. Have a little mini green tunnel going on here. Well, continuing on, the nature of the trail has definitely changed. Much more elevation gain, farther away from the river, more of a forested track than a riverside one. Trails dry and winding along the mountaintop up here. Not a whole lot to see that's not quite the same, and you can kind of get a sense of what things like. That's pretty much what the whole thing's like on this stretch. So I've started out on the white trail, then went onto the red trail for some of the more treacherous riverside passage. After passing the mill area, I was on the yellow trail along the more tranquil stream side, and now I'm on the orange trail in this more hilly, and not so much mountainous, but hilly stretch. I think I've still got the brown trail to go. We'll see what that one's like. But for now, continuing on. I think I'm somewhere around 2/3 of the way through this trek. We'll see what lies before us. Well, I'm on the final stretch. I just got done stopping at the visitor center, which would have been where I started the day had I been able to find parking, but made a quick stop at the facilities there. Made use of a vending machine to get a Powerade, as I was in need of it, and now we've got just a little bit left to finish out before we're back to the car. It's been a good day. It's been a good hike. It's a nice park. I'll be happy to come back and visit here again, either on my own doing more of the trails that are here, or with wife and dogs exploring some of the amenities around both the park, the riverside, and all that is here to partake of. Anyway, stop being long-winded, Chuck. All right, I'm gonna end it here. Thanks again for coming along with me. I've got about 10 miles in today, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. We will see you on the next trail. Well, hello there. It's a damp Sunday afternoon, and I'm out here once again hiking alongside the Chattahoochee. This time I'm doing the Sope Creek Trail via access from the Cochran Trail. So hoping to get about 8 miles in, if I can manage to do that, dodging around some of the rain and thunderstorms that are scattered across the area today. So we'll see if we can get the whole thing in, or if I have to cut it short because of conditions. Anyway, this area is normally pretty crowded on a weekend, a little bit less so today because of the weather, but I will see what I can do about getting some footage without disrupting anyone. So we'll check in further down the trail. I'm gonna see about getting this started. Branched off from the main approach onto the actual Sope Creek Trail. This is a mixed-use trail for both biking and hiking, similar to what I've got up at Rope Mill. So it's, you know, hikers going opposite directions from bikers and alternating directions on opposite days. So I am proceeding along the hiker direction today. I don't know that I anticipate seeing an excessive amount of bike traffic given the weather and trail conditions, but we'll keep an eye out for them just in case. So now that I'm off the main path, which was, you know, even with the weather, was mostly passable because of its gravel base, and the mucky spots were easy to get around. This trail is going to present a little bit more of a challenge with that, so I'll need to stay focused on my footing. To that end, I will film as I can, but safety and progress are going to be my main focus. Anyway, that's all for now. We'll catch up with you further down the trail. Well, I'm nearing the junction point between the two loops on this course, and minor correction from an earlier statement. I'm not on the Sope Creek Trail yet. This first loop is the Cochran Shoals trail, and that first stretch was simply the path from the Interstate North trailhead. So I'm on the Cochran Shoals loop right now, soon to be on the junction point between that loop and the Sope Creek trail, where I will switch over to the Sope Creek trail and continue on the loop there before coming back to the junction point and finishing out the Cochran Shoals loop. As I suspected, have not seen any traffic since splitting off onto this trail from the approach, and the trail conditions after this morning's weather are probably a good indication as to why. Saw a little bit of that in some of the footage I had in the time lapse, but yeah, it's been a bit slick and treacherous out here. Had to keep my focus till this stretch I'm on now is a little bit drier, so I could get the camera out. Anyway, I'm going to continue on, get to that junction point, and switch over to the Sope Creek Trail, and we'll see what lies before us on that path. I will check in with you further along the way. Now I can say that I am on the Sope Creek Trail now, despite my confusion earlier. So this trail seems to be a little bit wider. The trail's smoother, less rocks and roots, at least on the stretch I've gone on so far. Still plenty of muckiness about from today's weather, but wildlife seems to be acknowledging that the rain may be past. I'm hearing more bird song, seeing lots of squirrels active out here, and it's becoming just quite a peaceful walk in the woods. I'm going to continue on for now, and we'll check in further down the trail. Get a closer view, but the trail doesn't seem to get down to the creek side there of Sope Creek. So this is about the best shot I'm going to be able to give you. We'll see if it comes through when I review the footage as to whether or not I include it or not. But water is definitely running strong with the morning's storms. And it makes for a nice accompanying sound to my hike this afternoon on this stretch. Well, I'm almost done with the Sope Creek Trail. Just about back to the intersecting trail section to take me back to the Cochran Shoals loop. This has been, like I said, a pleasant walk in the woods. Did see a few more people out on the trail, going opposite direction from me. I think there's some apartment complexes that run near to this trail, and some little trail sections that probably run from the parking lots to the trail itself, so easy access for them. So everyone seems to be enjoying the day now that the weather's passed, but there wasn't so many that it disrupted my contemplative walk as I journeyed alone, which is good because that's part of what I enjoy out here. It's just the quiet meditation as I walk. Anyway, we'll see what lies before us on the final section of the Cochran Shoals as we loop back to the trailhead. We'll see what there is to show for footage, or if I simply have my final thoughts. Anyway, I'm gonna stop for now, continue my stroll. Well, I'm just about done with the Cochran Shoals loop, and I'm almost back to the connecting path back to the trailhead. So I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Looks like I probably get somewhere around 8.5 miles today, which is great. It's going to give me a total somewhere around 234, which means I've only got about 16 miles to get between now and Friday to close out March with 250, and I will be thrilled if I'm able to accomplish that. I've got a busy week ahead of me between both work as well as outside of work activities. Big weekend planned ahead, so if I can manage to squeeze some hikes in between now and then, that would be, well, it's going to be a challenge, but I'm going to see if I'm up to it. Anyway, that's about it for today. Thanks again for coming along with me. It's been a quiet day, and I needed that before the week ahead of me. So, again, thanks for coming along, and we'll see you on the next trail.